Sometimes we got to do what we don't feel like. You have to finish up. You can't leave that second video off where it was. All right, so TMJ. So the remedy was I rubbed clove oil with the carrier oil of coconut on the sides of my jaw, the outer sides, and then I used my infrared light. Right. Yes, my zany infrared light. On especially the one side, but I did not put it really on my jaw. I put it on the sides of my neck, like where Frankenstein has his bolts sticking out. And I did that for about a half an hour, on and off. And then I was able to get back to sleep. But I still feel kind of not so good. What is that noise that the camera keeps making? I don't know. You don't know that either? No. Today's Six of Swords. It's not blowing up, but it's making it's okay. We still got power. Six of Swords is today's card. The Journey. I always think of that Homeward poster when I think of the Six of Swords. Jerry Garcia. Journey far from home has been initiated by past sorrows. A lot of people don't have an easy life down here. But this is what you had to do because it's like school. And you chose to come to this academy, Mother Earth, for like the greatest education that you can get in the universe. This Earth is the university, the only one worth bragging about. And it's a huge universe. But when people out there realize that you're a graduate from the Mother Earth, they stand back. This journey is something that must be undertaken in order to move ahead. You are now leaving a painful place and going into a distant environment that promises more potential and more joy than you have ever known. So this, whatever emotional pain or stress you have experienced on your earthly journey, it's natural that will also manifest itself in physical pain. The same can be true vice versa. If you've lived with a lot of physical pain, now it might be time for you to get over your emotional and psychological pain as well. There's that noise again. I don't know what that is. Okay, well, don't worry about it. Let's see what it has to say about the love reading for Six of Swords. It's something new. I don't know what it is. Maybe time for a new phone. I just learned how to work this one. Let's be honest with each other. You hate this phone. I do hate this phone. I hate it. But the thing is, I know what here comes the mess. Here comes the lesson. She knows what she has with this phone, right? So she's not willing to try something better. Can I tell you something? When this one blows up, we have the new one. It's underneath that dresser in a box. We will take out the new one. Fair enough. Same thing can be said for Mother Earth. When she blows, oh well, time to move on. Is everything going to blow up? Let's just read about the love reading for this Six of Swords. This can signal that a struggle is reaching its end. Okay. Sometimes this can take the form of ending a relationship, but also putting a painful chapter of the relationship behind you and reconciling. In this case, I'd like to think it's that you now trust me completely and that you no longer have doubts about my motives or my actions. I wasn't aware that I had all these doubts. Well, perhaps that's true, Lena. Perhaps it's all been in my mind. I think that the thing that has been is that I just never trust myself. That I'm doing everything I can to do the right thing. For whatever. For myself, for my situation, for those around me. That's healthy to a degree. Having that kind of, you don't want to be nonchalant. You don't want to be blasé about decisions or your health or anything else. But you're not. Okay. And I feel like if you truly trusted me, you wouldn't always have these doubts in your mind about how we're doing. I don't know how to make you understand how much I trust you. I've changed my entire life because of you. Is it because you haven't had a choice? Because of your physical limitations? No. I changed my life before the fall. I gave myself over to you. You must be ready to leave the past fully behind. And no, you don't have to throw out your cell phone. Thank God, because it is still working. Anything else working that you don't see any need to get rid of? Is everything working for you, is my question. Is it a trick question? Are you thinking about your physicality? Yes, that is the... Okay. Is everything else working for you? Yes. My sobriety is working for me. My creativity is working for me. In what way? It's making me feel like I have my life back. My independence from old family that were hurting me is working for me. Exactly. They were doing nothing but hurting me. I mean, so my separation from my old family, from my birth family, I don't have one down in my mind that was the right decision, and that it was the only decision, or else I was becoming suicidal from them, not without realizing it. Yes, and the suicidal tendencies were manifesting themselves in my drinking. Just having them in my life was, I needed to get number and number, and I blamed myself for being an addict, but it was really to numb myself from what they represented, which was so much pain. I love you. It's a great day. It's an exciting day because we have it all out there before us to enjoy. And enjoy we will. And we'll start it off with some shrimps. Yeah, you're really into the shrimp thing. And today is September 5th. So what is that numerologically? 8 and 5 is 13. Why can't I do this? 8, 5 is 13. And 9 is 22. That's how old you were when I was born. That's right. And I was so excited. Can we read from that chapter? Sure. Okay, this is a excerpt from our blog. And this is just a picture that I love of John and Cynthia. And it's kind of the way their relationship was. Him always looking off and her like trailing behind him. And him with that dreamy expression just... And this was a chapter in our blog called John's Twin Flame Story, Chapter 7. We channeled Cynthia Powell for this. So we'll read it as a channel. Because Cynthia came in to talk. Hello and welcome back. More on Cynthia for this chapter. In fact, with Cynthia is most accurate since Lena will be channeling both Cynthia and myself for this installment. Surprise! That was John. I should keep the voices straight. You want to read it, Johnny? All right. Cynthia has always been a class act. There's no denying it, and why would anyone want to? It simply did not work out for she and I for the long haul because, well, you know what? Here she can speak for herself. And here is Cynthia. Cynthia, will you come do... Yes? Thank you, John and Lena. I'm pleased to be given this opportunity. Truly, it never ceases to astound me, and the rest of the Outer Realm team. I know I can safely speak for them as well. How in sync you two are. This writing project especially. But Lena, be warned. Now that you've brought me in for this project, many others are lining up for their Lena-inspired interview. Pardon me, I'm a little nervous, yeah. You know what it is? The glare of the computer is throwing me off a bit. All right, go ahead, Cynthia, take your time. Should I turn the glare? No. You can leave it. So Lena says, oh, Lord, Cynthia, I know. They started in on me yesterday, almost from the moment that we made the official announcement that you were coming in. Lena's referring to the Outer Realm and transcribing channel. John, yes, well, I am doing my best to stave them off, for now. Ideally, it should work out well for future chapters to interview key individuals. But the objective is not to overload Lena's channel. So that being said, Cynthia, take it. This is your platform. And here is Cynthia. Quite right. Well, from the time I met John in art class, he was clearly preoccupied. That is the word best to describe John during our entire association. Not just toward me, mind you, but toward life. And this was, of course, because he was always occupied with Lena. The first thing which I need to address is John with Lena. And the fact is, I had no knowledge of Lena for quite some time. Well into my relationship with John, I assumed that he and I were the couple. John says, true that, despite Lena's initial enthusiasm over Cynthia's open quality, me and Lena soon found that Cynthia was not open to psychic sexual awareness. And surprisingly, it actually suited us. At first, see, I was able to learn how to better compartmentalize my life in this way. When Cynthia and I had intimate relations, I could feel Lena's presence, but it was more on the periphery. It seemed that Lena could not possess Cynthia's body or sensual state in the way that she easily could with other, more open female subjects. A lot of groupies in this case, yeah. Lena was able to get in there with the groupies pretty good because a lot of the time they were in a fractured state, whether it be because they were Beatlemaniacs or because they were inebriated. Lena had an easy time getting through. Occasionally, if Cynthia drank a bit more than usual, it came closer to a soul merge, but not quite, never really. And so, when I had relations with Cynthia, and then Cynthia says, well, let's be frank, John, it was nothing earth-shattering, right? Right. But I was quite drawn to John, his looks, his popularity, and his talent. I admit that being with him made me feel special because he had chosen me. And Cynthia was very pleasant. She was a nice girl, a warm person, and Lena and I were very fond of her. There was an element of safety just being around her. Cynthia was a grounding influence. We grew to love her in the way that you love family, in the way that one appreciates anyone who is looking after one's best interests. True affection, you could say. Security. Johnny's got himself a steady girl. See? Everyone, that's what I mean. Normalcy. Cynthia represented normalcy. Cynthia says, yes, now I fully understand John's deep need for normalcy. What he was experiencing in those days had to have been a nearly completely isolating phenomenon. To have his agonizing love and longing for Lena, who was an elusive spirit, really, this was what John was contending with. So then Lena says, Cynthia, how and when did you realize that John and you were not alone? Well, that's an odd one, you see. I had always witnessed John's propensity for talking to himself, and he really didn't hide it very well because of his drinking in those days. So, pardon here, thanks. What Cynthia doesn't realize is that I began to purposefully speak out loud with Lena just for Cynthia's benefit. Really? No, I mean, that did come later, John, after you told me about Lena. But at first, Revelations, dear Cynthia. I was quite calculating about the whole situation. We kept waiting for your reaction, but you refused to take the bait. I was testing you. I waited and waited for you to ask me about it. Why is he talking to himself? Who is he talking to? But you were always too polite, or, well, I loved you, John, and I knew you had quirks from the starting gate, so I guess I chalked it up to, what? There's crazy old John again? Look at him go? Perhaps, yes. Well, I thought about quitting you many times, Cynthia, not for any other reason except that it felt unfair to you. The whole mess. I'm sorry, Lena. Please don't apologize, John. I know a real mess when I see one. And I live one when I live one. I can't read my own transcript. It's all right. But when Julian came into the picture, and you are honorable, and I am grateful for that. We all are. It was the right decision. Julian is a powerful shaman who is making a positive impact on humanity. But getting back, Cynthia told me she was expecting Jules in July of 1962. This was a bit of news that came exactly when Lena shockingly informed me that she was preparing to be born. To take human form as a newborn somewhere in the United States, any time now, as she put it. And here's where John describes me telling him about that I'm about to be born. It was late July 1962, and the Beatles played a lunchtime show at the Cavern. After the show, Lena was high as a kite, as usual, from the music and the excitement. The thing to remember is that I could always see, hear, and feel Lena bouncing all around me at these shows. So could Paul and George. Her joy and her energy itself was a drug for all of us. She was forever making us crack up and encouraging us to show off. After our particularly high-octane performance, we congregated in the back room band area, and Lena jumped on my lap. Cynthia wasn't at this gig. I remember she was to come later to the evening show. So this was my special time, just me with Lena, in a little corner backstage. I could sense something peculiar about Lena's vibe. Yes, she was very excited, but it was more than that. Her aura was shimmering in a different way. She seemed nearly solid. By God, Lena was almost real. Real that afternoon. And her weight. I remember the womanly weight of her on my thighs, and the tangible softness of her arms around my shoulders and neck. Her silky tangled curls against my cheek. I suddenly felt delirious with desire. What was happening? Were our prayers being answered, finally? Was Lena magically materializing here and now into my willing arms? Right here at the Cavern? I was swooning and speechless as Lena began to enthusiastically ramble. Johnny, the most amazing thing has happened. God and Mother are making preparations to send me on another Earth mission. Soon I'm going to be just like you. What? Like me? How? When? When, Lena? I'll know more about it when it's almost time to happen. But for now, I just know that it's true, and I'll be born. Be born? What do you mean, be born? Lena, talk sense. You're a grown girl. How can you... Born to what? As who? Like a baby? Yes, I'll be a brand new baby. This is crazy. What am I supposed to do with a baby? And remember, folks, this is just prior to Cynthia's pregnancy announcement. I like you the way you look now, Lena. The same age as me. Because she really looked like Brigitte Bardot, you know. Very much just a gorgeous 20-year-old nymph, you know. That's how I saw her. We grew up together. Johnny, don't freak out. God will take care of it, I promise. Things are not as confusing out here, Johnny. It'll make sense, you'll see. Nothing between us is going to change. We'll always have each other. Lena had been saying these exact words to me since forever. God will help us, Johnny. Don't worry. I promise we'll always be together. We'll always have each other. But this time, I was not convinced. Instead, I was way beyond confused. Soon the dank little room grew too crowded for me, and Lena began to pursue this sorry. Soon the dank little room grew too crowded for me and Lena. Too crowded for me and Lena to pursue this subject. I just knew that things were shifting in ways that I could not fathom yet. More would be revealed in the encroaching weeks when I would continue to be relentlessly bombarded from all angles, all sides, and all dimensions. More from Cynthia next time, John. And that's our blog, right? And it's a great chapter in our history together when Lena was born in 1962. Yeah, you guys come visit us on the John and Lena Twin Flame Experience on WordPress. I love you, baby. I love you too. Okay, that was great. Great work. Thank you, Cynthia. How are you? Great. Cynthia, once again, the twin flame of Keith Moon. Right, Cyn? Yeah. Let's get going. We got stuff to do. Okay, honey. Praise be God and Mother.